Page 14. God rest you, merry gentlemen. So I'm so used to saying God rest ye, merry gentlemen. This says you, so okay, we'll do you. 4/4 time with one sharp. So it's either in the key of G major or E minor. Now let's take a look at the end on page 15 at the bottom, the last measure. You're here. It's an E minor chord, so I'm guessing this is in the key of E minor. We'll start with the right hand, one hand at a time. You're here. All quarter notes pretty much. You have to lift between these phrases, put a little lift, just a little silent, and then you reach over a second finger. Now, you can do 1/5. If you have really big hands and thick fingers, you have to do 2/5. If you have small hands, then you can't do 2/5, but it doesn't matter. You can do 1/5. But somehow you got to do it. And you lift up to the end of the phrase. Do that again. Lift up. Lift up to the end of the phrase. Now you got to move. So these phrases, we're doing this, and sometimes we move, sometimes we don't. Second line, first measure, end of the phrase, lift up. And then again, lift up for the third line. Crossover. I tend to do 3/2. You can do a 2-1 if you want. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. I'll get to it here. If you use their fingering for the last two measures of the third line, it's here. And then lift up, 2-1. But if you want to do a 3/2 on the third line, then it's this way. You just stay in this position. Now you lift up and use their fingering after the phrase. I don't do a lot of 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 stuff. And some of these method books do. Sometimes you have to, but if I don't have to, I don't. So in this 1-2-1, I do a 1-3-2, and then let go up. It's a personal thing. You can do it. The point is, you decide what you want to do, and if it's not the same as in the book, you pencil in what you want to do, and you stick with it. If you have a teacher, they will tell you how they want you to finger it. That's fine too. Different teachers would say different things. That's fine too. Left hand. The beginning, the chords. One chord, 5/7 chord, and then a rest. You move down. Then another rest to come back up. Isn't this fun? Let's go over to page 15. Third line down. You have here and then here. Then a rest, and that gives you come down for the last line for D, F sharp. And then a thumb on the G. Then reach down for the B. Third finger on the D sharp. And then 2-1. Try to, I don't do very well at this, but try to get those notes down at the same time. It's hard to do. You need to connect them. That's important. Try and get them down. Then, once you got the hands worked out separately, you can try to put them together. Just play it as legato as you can except for the phrases, okay? And both hands, play it as legato as you can, but in the right hand you got to lift up for the phrases. And you have rests in the left hand, so make sure you include those. So again, at the beginning. 2, 3. Let me do that some more. Let's go over to page 15. Second measure, you're here. Lift up the right hand. See, the left hand has a half note. It comes up on beat 3. So when you play the B in the right hand, this is the first measure of the second line there on page 15. The left hand comes up right there. Now the phrasing that you're using on these pieces depends on the words and how the sentences and the words are breaking up. You want a phrase between the different clauses or sentences in the words. If you look at the second line on page 15, there's no break in the words. It's all together. It's all one thought. So that second line in the right hand to me is all one phrase. I would not separate it into separate phrases. I would keep it all connected. But then I might need to for the other verses. If the other verses have a comma or a semicolon or a period at that point in that verse, then I want to break for the phrase for that verse, if that's what I'm doing. Well, I looked at these other three verses at the bottom, and none of them are break. They're all sentences. They're all connected. So in my opinion, that second line on page 15 for the right hand should all be one phrase. I mean, the phrase starts in the first line, you see it, but it's all connected in the second line. I would not separate that. Then you lift up for a new phrase. Make sure those are by themselves, the left hand's resting. That out. I'd like to play this with you slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms and all that. It's not a fast piece, it's not a slow piece. You can find recordings of it, but you can get to turn it into music and do all the fancy stuff on your own. I just want to make sure you have the right notes and rhythms. So I'm going to give us 3 counts, and let's play it together slowly. So your hands start here. Here, E position. 1, ready, go. Three.